Start with you. Who's your Heisman favorite right now?
Derrick Henry. And the reason why? He's carrying the load against SEC defenses for Alabama, getting it done each and every week. They can count on him. He can carry the load for Alabama, and I think he's made statements week in and week out.
Just a big, physical, tough, durable guy.
Did Derrick Henry run away, and I use that term literally, run away with the Heisman Trophy in the Iron Bowl on Saturday?
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, you look at the season that he's had, but he's had 4 200-yard games, right?
But I think it's Derrick Henry's without question.
To me, there's nothing to talk about here. If Derrick Henry continues to do this, he's the Heisman winner.
It's killer raps, we got the hottest staff. In 03, I made a dynasty like Robert Kraft. Yulee, Florida, home of Derrick Henry. Yulee High School, where a star was born. Now let me spew some names out for you guys real quick. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson. What do they all have in common? They were all extremely exceptional talents in high school. What if I told you that Derrick Henry was even more exceptional than those guys? This man is the greatest high school athlete I have ever seen in my life. And if you think I'm speaking that nonsense, holla at me down in them comments, man. Henry completely dominated all 4 years of high school, unlike a lot of players that eventually turned pro. He piled up over 12,000 yards and 153 touchdowns. This kid averaged over 250 yards a game to go along with 3 TDs as well. Hey yo, that 12,000 is a record that surpassed the previous record that stood for over 60 years. Let's make this math real simple for y'all. That's 3,000 yards a season. Just looking at this dude's high school highlights proves he was made to do this. A complete man amongst boys, man. Get this, y'all. There was even something called the Derrick Henry rule. Y'all wanna know what that was? If his high school team went up 21 points or more, they had to take Derrick Henry out of the game. They made a high school kid come out of the game if his team went up 21 points or more. That's insane. So what direction does that take your brain? Well, let me tell you where it takes mine. Imagine what he could have done with that extra time off the field. Man, oh man, I've never seen something like this in my life. I mean, these high school numbers are ridiculous, y'all. Just look at them. Bruh, over 4,000 yards on the ground in his senior year with 55 touchdowns? Was he the only guy out there playing? I guess when you got a guy like that, you gotta ride that coattail, man. But that's the way it seemed. But if you are a 5-star recruit and a superstar during your high school career like Henry was, usually you go to Alabama, which is exactly what he did. The problem was that there was talent at his position already in place on the roster, but his time would eventually come. By the time he hit his junior season, he would be the full-time starter and would never look back.
And now it's big Derrick Henry rumbling down the sideline. Touchdown! Here's Henry again, and he will take it in again. 28-yard touchdown run for Derrick Henry.
Henry, he's to the 10. On his feet at the 5, he will power his way in for a touchdown from 17 yards out.
Henry, a burst up the middle, Derrick Henry. Here's Henry, swinging wide, breaks free, end zone. That could be the dagger.
So Derrick Henry would continue where he left off at in high school and would again be a man amongst boys with Alabama. But in college, there was no Derrick Henry rule, so he could score as much as he wanted. That would lead to him setting all type of records and the all-time SEC record for yards and touchdowns en route to this Heisman Trophy he eventually won. He piled up over 2,200 yards and 28 TDs while scoring in every single game they played. Now with these accomplishments, there should be pretty much no doubt that this kid should be a top 10 pick, at least. Right? I mean, standing 6'3", 240-pound freight train that ran a 4.5 40? That's impressive for a big guy, by the way. Most thought he would at least go in the first round. But I don't know if you guys remember, this was around the league that backs started to lose their value and phase out of the NFL. The league became extremely pass-heavy around this time. So lots of teams passed on him, and he would inevitably go in the second round to the Tennessee Titans. But believe it or not, he was only the second running back taken, even though he went so late. The only back ahead of him was Ezekiel Elliott, so I guess he can't complain. Now, Henry's NFL career started off kind of shaky. A player of this magnitude and stature coming in, you would expect to have a bang in his rookie year, right? He would be forced to play behind DeMarco Murray, who was pretty consistent the previous years with Tennessee and Dallas. His carries were minimal until his second year when he started to gain some steam. Now, this is when Henry became known as the second half player. It seemed like you can always rely on this kid during the second half of the season. But he would finish that year off with over 700 yards on the ground, beating out DeMarco Murray for lead back duties in the second half of that season. So during the offseason of 2018, the Titans made some changes. First off, DeMarco Murray announced that he would retire during that 2018 offseason, and they brought in Mike Vrabel to be the head coach, and they also brought in Matt LaFleur from the Rams to play offensive coordinator. Now, Vrabel was a rookie head coach, and LaFleur had some major success with Todd Gurley the previous season, so they figured that would help Derrick Henry in the long run, right? But something went wrong. Henry seemed to have lost his mojo he had ending the 2017 season. He looked slow. He looked out of shape to me. He just didn't look right. So this is when I began calling him a fluke. I'm like, man, is this guy really who people think he is? Through the first quarter of the 2018 season, Henry would average under 3 yards a carry as backup Dion Lewis started to outshine him and gain lead duties for the Titans' backfield. This didn't bode well for Henry, so he did something most people wouldn't do. Check it out, y'all. Pride can get in the way of a lot of men no matter what the situation is. Some men even let pride stop the potential progression in their careers because of how such a thing may look. Let's be honest, y'all. We all as men have become a victim of it at one point in time in our lives. But in this situation, Henry didn't let the pride get in the way of his progression. Now, after watching film and realizing how bad his play has been as of late, he reached out to a former Titans great, a guy that has similar early issues in his career but figured it out, so hey, I guess he can relate in such a way. The guy's name is Eddie George. I'm sure everybody's heard of him. But he wanted the bold truth from George, so Eddie George gave it to him. Eddie George gave Derrick Henry just the reality check he needed when he told him, quote, "You're not playing to your abilities, my guy. You need to impose your will on defenders more with your size and your strength. You have been running soft, and it needs to stop now if you want to have a future in the NFL. You haven't been looking to embrace contact when you should be, and you're not driving the pile for extra yards when it's time. You need to make the defense pay," unquote. Those words stuck with Henry and turned him into a solid back for the remainder of the season. And then week 14 happened.
Touchdown. 29-yard catch and run, and the Titans slide into the red zone. And hand to Derrick Henry. Down to the 5. Second and goal. Henry, he got it. Touchdown, Titans.
Henry will bust out with 238 yards and 4 TDs in this game, including that magnificent 99-yard run. Damn, this dude was a beast at the end of that season. So he would finish the remainder of that season strong and enter 2019 with that same momentum. Now, the Titans will come into this season with a simple game plan of get Derrick Henry the ball and get the hell out the way. Now, he ran hard all season long, and he finished the season with over 1,500 rushing yards and 16 TDs on the ground, leading the NFL in rushing. Seems like Eddie George should be an inspirational speaker or something, because he made Derrick Henry more consistent. Remember when I said I started to think Derrick Henry was a fluke at that time? And now looking back on it, I resent those remarks, as he's proved to be a reliable back in the NFL. The only thing I fear for this kid is longevity. Will he have any? During his senior year in high school, he carried the ball over 400 times. This season, he led the league in carries, and I'm wondering, with this style, how long can this last? I don't know, but I love watching it while it's going on. The Tennessee Titans made the playoffs this year, as we all know, and it was solely on the back of Derrick Henry. I mean, he beat the Patriots by himself, and he beat the Baltimore Ravens by himself. Now, although it seems like he's gonna lose this match against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Titans have had an amazing run, all on the back of their bell cow, Derrick Henry. Let's see where the future lies for this franchise. They are all talented across the board, and not thanks to Derrick Henry, they have a strong running game they can lean on. Well, anyways, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you love sports the way that I do. Man, I really learned to love this kid. Hopefully he keeps this up going into the next season. And congrats to the Tennessee Titan fans, and congrats to the Titans for a great run. This was an incredible. I did not see this coming, y'all. I did not see this coming. But I'm making this video as it seems that they are going to lose to Kansas City. I may be wrong, but I doubt it. Right now it's 3 minutes left and the score is 35-24. So if I'm wrong, y'all let me know down in the comments. It would be a very big mistake of mine, but I don't know, man. Let me get on up out of here. It's been a doozy, y'all. And as always, OG out.